Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Allison Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, these other little books right here where you can get all that down in the description. And you guys can tell it's a podcast episode because there's a reason why, and you know. But the reason why I show up every day is because of you guys. You guys are awesome. I cannot tell you how appreciative of my family we are here, of everything we're building, the comments, the rapport, the relationships, not just with me, but with each other. You guys, truly, truly, deeply thankful for everything we do here. You guys just can't go wrong. So keep sharing, keep building. Let's make this a bigger, awesome, more incredible family. It's time we spread positivity and all of us being a community again, a family. Let's do this. All right. So thank you very much. And you guys always know I'm always thankful for a couple of my friends here, especially my bestie friend, my sister, Miss Desiree. That's right, you guys. She is fucking back today. We are going to have a nice little chat with her. We're going to talk about a couple bands and a couple, things I talk about with groupies and never fall in love with everybody you fall in bed with, but sometimes you just can't control it. And what you can't control is what we're drinking today. I'm drinking our little salt fire. I'm finishing up our dirty chai stout from the previous video because I can't drink it all at one shot. I will be too drunk. I'm a lightweight. Well, the older you get, the cheaper you become as a date. But anyway, so everybody kick up your feet, grab your dirties, and let's have a little cocktails and rocktails with Miss Desiree. Say hey, Desiree.
Hey, y'all are the reason I'm here too.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm so glad, I started this because you wouldn't have found me. And let's say it together. Cheers, big ears.
Cheers, big ears.
Cheers, big ears. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know Desiree from several other episodes I've done. She's down there in Texas. She's danced. She's had an awesome life. We've talked about a few other bands. Her dad's a country music legend. But today we're going to talk about another legend with her. Let's talk about some AC/DC, Miss Desiree.
Oh, you want to talk about that one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's a weird story because, I mean, I think it's the vibration we're at because even when you're not looking for them, they come find you.
That's so true. It's the groupie homing device. Like the cat distribution system, but the groupie distribution.
Yes, I don't know what it is. It's the music vibration, something, because I was coming home from this little small bar, and this is in Houston, and I'm leaving this small bar that a band I like played at regularly, like every weekend or something. And but it wasn't a real known bar, and some friends and I have been there because they were having their Halloween costume party, and I'm leaving that bar, and I get to Cardi's. Cardi's is where everything happened in Houston. That's where you wanted to be. So I'm going over there to their bar, and it's not Halloween night for them. They're not celebrating it yet, but I'm still in my gypsy costume.
Nice.
And I'm walking through the parking lot, and all of a sudden this guy who's coming out of the club, he's got his arm around a girl on each side of him. He's got two girls.
Isn't that the typical thing we think of rock stars and groupies? They're surrounded.
And he looks at me, and his mouth just kind of drops like in surprise, and he goes, Wheels, throw her in the car. He's got this British accent, and I'm like, what the hell? Because I don't recognize him, right? Anyhow, and this big guy is standing there staring at me by a cab, and he pulls the door open wider and motions for me to get in, and I'm going, what the hell's going on? He goes, that's Fast Eddie. If you want to come along, you can hang out with me. No big deal, you'll be safe.
Hold on, wasn't Fast Eddie like a DJ or something?
No, Fast Eddie was a guitarist for Fastway.
Oh.
And I wasn't into Fastway. I heard a few of their songs. They're not bad. And that guy, I don't know how many girls he thought he needed that night. He wasn't getting me, But
well, the more the merrier, at least for the facade anyway.
For the what?
Facade, for the looks,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was, I don't know. if he's looking for a harem or what. How many more does he need?
Well, you need to walk across the hotel lobby with at least 5 and hope you bed one, because, you know, odds are most of those girls are going to fall off between the front door and the elevator.
Oh, wow, you know. Well, the bus driver told me, you know, a little more. He was like saying that, that's Fast Study from Passgaes. We're playing with AC/DC. They were like, you can come along and you'll be safe. I won't let anything happen to you. And I thought, oh, well, that's cool. I guess I could do that, you know. So I go with them. And instead of following Fast Eddie and his entourage of women to the upstairs, we go off and he takes me to their bus. And we sit on the bus.
See, I told you, women fall off between the front door and the hotel elevator.
Well, those two, as far as I know, didn't, but I did. I went with the bus driver. I sat there and I talked to him all night until it was, I want to say, either daytime or right at daytime. He was really cool. I think he just wanted company to talk to while he did his little, what would you call it, nose
dives?
What is it?
Nose dive?
Booger sugar. That's what.
There you go.
And he was doing that. He offered me some, and I said no. I was always not really into that. And but, you know, I talked with him all night, asked him all kinds of questions. He was cool as hell, and he talked about some of the other bands he was with. He was with Motorhead. He was, you know, really into that. And, you know, I had to get home, and since I wasn't at Cardi's where I could meet a ride home, he gave me $100. He told me to take a cab, and since it was chilly, he handed me his Motorhead jacket. I mean, this thing was custom made.
Yeah, the tour jackets.
Huh?
The tour jackets that all the crew in the band get.
It was leather. It was custom made. It had the Motorhead across the back, and it was all written in white Motorhead letters. You know, you couldn't just get this jacket on the market. You know, it was from the band. And he put that on me, and he gave me $100. He said, come back tonight to the show and bring me back the change from the cab and my jacket. And I thought, how in the hell does he trust a girl he just met? And he's given me a jacket that is so sentimental.
Because our rock and roll gypsy tribes recognize our own. Like you said at the beginning, it's that radar.
He has some trust in me. And you know what? I think it was a two-way thing, because when I met him, I had trust in him. I could have been getting off in a type of serial killer.
Well, it's that trust we have in rock and roll. We just instantly feel safe and comfortable and at home, and it's just, we're protected.
Yeah. I mean, you just kind of sense it. You can feel it. You know?
Yeah.
So I did just that, and I was like, I want to say 17 at the time, maybe 16, 17. In a bar, as always. We were going to bars. I started going at 15, so that was no big deal.
Didn't we all back then?
Huh?
I said, didn't we all start going to the bar back then at 15?
Apparently so. You know, that seemed to be the thing in the 80s. But to be fair, when I started going to bars, the age to get in was 18, if you can even imagine that now. But it was 18, so when you're 16 or 17 getting in a bar, it's not a far cry. You know, it's kind of like you're not that much younger. So anyway, I go home, and later that day, I tell my stepdad, can you give me a ride to the concert, because this guy gave me $100 to come home. I got his change, and I got his jacket, and he's got backstage passes for me for AC/DC, so I'm going there. And so he did. He dropped me off at the concert. I went in, and I found Smitty. That was his name. If he's out there, Smitty, I lost your
Smitty
number.
was around for a long time. I even know who Smitty is, the bus driver. He drives for a lot of people.
I need to get in touch with him again.
Okay, I'll put out the feelers, because Smitty was around for a long time. I know who Smitty is. He drove a few bands. I want to say, like, I know might have been one with Dangerous Toys. Probably still AC/DC's crew because they stick around with a lot of the same bands. So yeah.
Well, I tried calling him because back then that's all we had was phone calls.
Yeah.
And try finding a bus driver who's out on the road. I think I talked to him a time or two. And then, next thing I know, I call and his roommate tells me, well, he got in a little trouble. Yeah, he's behind bars for a little bit. Huh?
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. And after that, I don't know if I lost his number or what, but I just never was able to get in touch with him again.
That's too bad. Well, what happened when you got to the show?
What happened was I got his jacket back and gave him his change, and I saw the show. I was backstage, just chilling and hanging out and watching things. I know that, what was it? Angus Young, I think it was. Oh boy, he had a groupie you could tell she was a road wife. The second he came off stage and was sitting down, she was right there with him, and she was dressed in this very odd match of clothes, but it had spandex and some other stuff, and she's wiping his sweat off of him and all of this.
Oh, God, wiping the sweat off.
Huh?
I can't believe she was wiping the sweat off like some harem chick.
I know. I was like, oh my God. Okay. And I wasn't really into any of the guys personally with AC/DC.
Yeah.
So I didn't go up and say nothing.
And that's okay because, there's certain past groupies that are like, we don't date the road crew. Like bitches we do. In the 80s, whoever we had chemistry with, because we're all part of that rock and roll family. So never, ever, ever discount a friendship, a relationship, anything with those road crew guys, because they go on tour with a bunch of different bands and they can get you backstage to all those bands, huh, Desiree?
It's called networking.
Yes, and friendship. It's just called friendship in our gypsy tribe.
And I wasn't dating this guy. I didn't even kiss him or have nothing to do with the bus driver.
Yeah, no, like we had Al Shipman, who was another bus driver that's how I originally met Pantera, but he drove with a lot of different bands. And he was like our rock and roll dad. Like, he's the reason we were out on the Club MTV tour or, out in Phoenix with Junkyard or some other band, whatever, So never discount the friendship, the relationship, the family you have in that road crew.
Absolutely. They are, an integral part of the show. They make it happen. The band can't do it without them, and they can't do it without the band. But so it's a one-piece.
And none of them could do it without the groupies. Ask Sweet Connie. No, I'm kidding. They paid off her damn house.
We make the road a lot more. How would you?
Yeah.
What is the name for it? We relieve the stress.
We make it a home out on the road. We're like we make it a home. It's because people think it's just about the sex and drugs and rock and roll. We're jump offs. No, we're longtime friends. We're longtime family. We know how to get the guys to come down from the rock star and allow them to be themselves.
Yeah, so if you end up at a place where you're not even interested in any of the bands, like I'm wasn't about Fastway, and I love AC/DC's music, but I don't.
Who else did you see that night at AC/DC?
The what?
Who else did you see that night at AC/DC? What else did you see backstage?
Oh God, you're talking over 30 years ago now. I just. I don't really know. It was kind of crowded, and I was in a walkway, and so I was up against the wall. And then I think I teetered off.
Well, all backstage is a walkway with a bunch of doors. I said all backstage is a walkway with a bunch of doors, and we're all leaning up against the walls.
This one area he took me to when I met him there, because when I met him there and gave him his stuff, he kind of walked me back where I wanted to be. And at one point, when AC/DC was on, I went out into the crowd and was watching him. And I had my past viewable because I don't even remember carrying a handbag at that age.
Yeah.
And these two guys, I overheard them. They were kind of close by me saying we should jump her and take her pass.
Oh, shit.
And I went flying backstage. because I didn't want that to happen. But I ran into some friends that were also backstage. These guys I know. I forgot to ask them how they got there.
The same way we all do. We all know someone.
Yeah, that's what it probably was. And as I was saying, if you're not interested in...
And not everybody on the road wants a female groupie.
Oh, yeah, well, see, that's what I was wondering.
Rob Halford.
Were you part of Passgaes harem, guys?
And to each their own. To each their own. You know, whoever consents between consenting adults, whatever. To each their own, you know. But
okay, yeah,
life on the road is a plethora.
Yeah, but, you know, these guys were long hair rockers.
Yeah.
So they probably did know someone. But I ran into them. I started talking to them. I talked to David some more. But it was good I ran into them because these guys gave me a ride back home after the show.
Nice.
And I decided to play a prank on my sister because she doesn't know. I'm like, she's heard the band, but she doesn't look at them or anything. You know, she isn't into rock per se. I don't know what she's into, but it ain't that. And so when these guys brought me home, I said, help me play this joke on my sister. I'm going to tell her that y'all are two of the members of AC/DC. And I did. I brought them in. I said, Carol, I want you to meet these guys. They're from AC/DC, because she knew I was going to, that my stepdad was taking me to the show to drop me off. She knew I went backstage all the time. She also, you know, knew it was AC/DC and all of that. So when I come back in and I'm with these long, they had dark hair, they were rockers in their leather, and I'm like, oh yeah, these are the guys from AC/DC. She's like, hi, can I get you anything to drink? We got older. She's doing all of this, and just, you can tell she's just lit up like a Christmas tree. This is why younger siblings get killed, because I had to eventually tell her they're not from AC/DC. They were just a couple of friends of mine. And oh my gosh, how I lived through that one, I don't know. But she still mentions it from time to time. It embarrassed the fuck out of her. So did I say?
Well, she should try looking at an album cover and decide which one she wanted to sleep with, like the rest of us do.
No, she's gay.
Oh, well, then she should have done that for Heart or Vixen. No, I'm kidding.
She liked the Go-Go Girls.
Oh yeah, the Go-Go's were fun.
Yeah, and there was a gay female band that came out that her and all of her lady gay friends, they all loved that band too. I just can't remember the name of it.
Huh.
Yeah,
So,
I'll have to ask her.
So now moving from, you know, the good times, you know, fleeting times with AC/DC, I always talk about, you know, never fall in love with everybody you fall into bed with, but it happens for every groupie. We always find the one. Let's talk about your one.
Oh boy, okay, this is a little bit of a story.
Yeah, start from the beginning.
Okay, well, it started with a #1 hit song that I fell in love with, and I want to say I must have been about 9 years old. And it was a #1 song on the radio, and I was like, oh my God, I love this song, and so did everybody else. And my dad bought the album, and he was one of those guys that you don't pick up the needle and put it in the middle of the album. You start it at the beginning of the album and let it play all the way through. And the song I loved was the last one on there. And I had to listen to all 4 songs before it. But as it turned out, I fell in love with this music. And I fell
What was
in
the
love
song?
with the lyrics. Huh?
What was the song?
The name of the song, and I say this, some of you out here are maybe too young to remember this, but I think it was a hit in 76 or 78, and it was called The Year of the Cat by Stewart. So it became my mission, and mind you, I was probably the only 9-year-old girl in the world who was into this music. If there was another one, I'd love to meet you, because I think we're weird.
Oh, I'm sure there's other ladies that are down there in the comments that know who Al Stewart is.
Well, not who he is, but if you fell in love with them back when you were 9 years old, and listened to his music since, then I would love to hear it because
Well,
it
it's
was
like,
one of the.
what was Kelly, what's her name, that was John Travolta's wife that passed away?
Oh,
She's like, oh, I was how old? 16 when I walked in to see Grease, and I looked at John Travolta, said I was going to marry that man. We kind of have
you did?
inklings. Yeah.
You love John Travolta?
No, his wife said that.
Oh, she
Before
did.
they were
Oh, I
married,
thought.
before they ever met, before she was an actress, before anything.
You know what? I thought I heard that about Katie for Tom Cruise.
Probably. Well, and how many of us
Oh,
groupies sat there like you listened to that song, or we looked through, Rip Magazine or Metal Edge, or heard a new song, and we're like, oh, we got to see what these guys look like. Which one are we going to go sleep with? So, yeah, it was
yes.
absolutely normal in the day of when we actually put posters on our walls, like papered them.
Well, there really wasn't that going on for Al because he wasn't a teen heartthrob, and God, he was born the same year as my mother. He was a lot older than me, so how I got hooked on his music is a phenomenon all itself, but I loved his music, and I always dreamed one day of meeting him. I've got to meet this guy someday. His lyrics are just through the roof fantastic. I was all about it. So I heard about a kid, on this I heard on the radio, they had someone they really liked, like I liked Al, and they wrote a bunch of, not lyrics, words like, please let me meet such and such, please let me meet such and such, and they actually sent it to the radio station, and they introduced them to that person when they came to town.
Oh.
I was like, oh, dang, that's cool. I can do that. So I did the same thing. 10,000 sentences of please let me meet Al Stewart. Please. And I was 14 then, and I was really a weird kid. We don't need to explain that again. But either way, yeah. So anyhow, I never did send it to a radio station. I kept it because I never heard about him coming.
Because
to
you
town.
manifested it with all those 10,000 sentences.
Yeah, do what?
Because you were manifesting it.
Oh, was I? I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
but I never, at the age of 14 when I did that, I never heard of him coming to town until I was 17. And I was like, oh my God, so here comes my stepdad again. I had the best stepdad in the world. I'm not even lying about that. But I told him, okay, Al Stewart's coming to town. I've got to go. And it was a double show, like one after the other.
Oh.
So he'd let me buy a front row seat to the first show and a second row seat to the second show. I probably didn't need that second ticket because I had packed in a box a book that was the Prophecies of Nostradamus. He wrote a song called Nostradamus.
Yeah.
That tells the story of his predictions. And so I had packed that in there with a letter explaining that how I had loved his music since I was 9 years old, and all I've ever wanted to do was just meet him and talk to him,
And ladies and gentlemen, that is the ultimate groupie pickup line sometimes. I've loved you since I was a kid. We always say don't talk about the music, but if you need to use it as a pickup line, go right ahead.
Well, and this is like, at the time, I met a lot of famous people, but even then I didn't think I was going to end up dating Al,
Yeah.
And even though I wanted to, and it was like, as a kid, it was, my dream. The guy could be already have someone. You don't know.
Yeah.
Better. But I put that in there, and I put in all of those 10,000 sentences. Please let me meet Al Stewart, right? And I put it in there, and I was sitting with a guy. It turned out, after the first show, he said he was from the press. And the guy, one of the guys from the band, came and handed me a backstage pass.
Oh.
Because Al went off stage after the first show. I'd given them that box. He opened it, read it, and said, please go give her a pass. So I got a pass, and I'm like about jumping out of my seat. And this guy from the press, I was like getting up to go, and he goes, you don't want to go right now. And I go, I don't. And he goes, no, they just got off stage. You want to let them cool down. And I'm like, oh, okay, I could do that. That's no problem. I didn't mean to, I'm sitting over here. I don't know, Anyhow, so I'm sitting here and I'm just chilling out and everything. And then the guy comes back again. He goes, are you coming? And I'm like, oh.
Not yet.
No, I'm kidding. Yes, I'm coming with you. Of course, this guy from the press was being a fool. Anyhow, so I get back there and I start talking to him and the conversation flows. And before that second show started, I think we were already making out.
That is a girl on the mission, ladies and gentlemen. When a groupie has been waiting years to meet that guy, there is no fucking bullshitting around. You go straight for the kill.
Yeah, no, he went straight for me.
Oh, even better. Yeah. Don't have to do all the work.
Remember, I grew up thinking, okay, you gotta let the man take control.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's how we were back then, though. We presented ourselves at the hotel bar. We made them come over to us. So, yeah.
I think he knew I wasn't going to say no. So, yeah. So, he made that move, and we were kissing and all of this. And I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe this is my dream coming alive, in my head. I didn't tell him that.
Well, and let's, I mean, and I'll have you resend the pictures, and I'll post the pictures. But let's face it, you were a mini treat hottie patati. I mean, you're a petite little girl. You were absolutely gorgeous. You still are. But yeah, I mean, of course, he saw you from the front row, saw that box, knew you wanted to meet him. He fucking had you stalked, staked, and mattress on your back before you got backstage.
It would seem that way, but yeah.
But that's okay. You had him pegged for that too. It's like, who's complaining?
Oh, if anything, I think, okay, now, mind you, he's born the same year as my mother. I say this with a little bit of cringe, but no, age doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Well, no, minors do matter. I would never touch anybody under it.
Yeah, I mean, within reason. Yeah, exactly. Legal reason.
Consenting adults, I don't mind if they're...
And that was the age of consent in the state of Texas at the time.
Oh yeah, I was of age in Texas. Yeah, I was. I didn't tell John Bon Jovi that, but yes, I was. But anyway, so I'm sitting back there in this, throughout the whole midsection before the next show. I'm with him, and then the second show's starting. Of course, I want to go hear it again, because I love every single song. It's not. I was there for the music and then for Al, So I'm out there and I listen to the second show, which is just as fantastic as the first. I go back there. We spend the rest of the night making out. And at one point, one of the local DJs who's really popular at the time, because we had 101 KLOL in Houston, and it was one of the top radio stations. One of their DJs came back to talk to Al, and her name was Dana Still. And she's trying to talk to him, and we just keep making out in front of him. I didn't think about
well, that's kind of, and there's always been kind of a struggle between radio DJs back then and the groupies, because the groupies were usurping all the radio DJ times, and they weren't able to get good, interviews with them and stuff, because, like you said, you were still making out with the guy.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if she was actually there for an interview or if she was just going to talk to him. I need to take a sip of my drink.
It's okay. Cheers, big ears. Everybody drink.
Cheers, big ears. My mouth gets dry when I'm talking. But
yeah.
I wasn't sure, but she didn't look like she had a pen and paper or a microphone, so I wasn't too worried about it. I would learn later on that he had me do an interview for him once. So,
oh, good God.
Huh?
Oh, good God. Yeah, we've all done that. I've signed autographs for different band members when people send stuff up to them at their hotel and stuff. Yeah, I've signed it.
Well, the way Al did it, he goes, she knows more about me than I do myself, so why don't you interview her? And if I got stuck on any question, he was still sitting on my left side. I would turn and look at him, but that was
so. Well, what happened after that first show? Like, because how long did you guys see each other?
Well, we swapped numbers, and I had family in LA, and he lived in LA, and I would fly there to see him, or he would come through town and see me when he was on tour and stuff. And so we saw each other back and forth for 4 years. It may have been a little over 4 years. I don't have all the math in front of me, but yeah.
So what was that like for you, knowing you had this guy that you had a crush on since you were a kid, and all of a sudden here you are for 4 years, till you're like 21, 22 years old, seeing this guy? Like, how awesome was that, flying back and forth? Like, what would you guys do when you'd be in LA besides each other?
Oh my God. The first time I arrived in LA to see him, and okay, I don't know if this is an insult or not, but when I was backstage talking to him the first night I met him, you're going to tell me what this means, because it's bothered me all my life. He was talking to me and he said, you have a Medusa personality.
Medusa is very hypnotic, but you have to be very careful. And it was probably very much a compliment, because let's put it this way: rockers don't meet very many women on the road that they feel are dangerous in a very hard kind of way, because you were someone that obviously he fell for more than just that, the one night stand that we have chemistry with a lot of the times. So I think it was a compliment, because she is very much a mythic character. She's very much enticing, but then she can be very much dangerous to him.
Oh, I didn't take it that way. I was really thinking, what does that mean? But I don't want to say anything, because everything.
No, I think it's a compliment, because, like I said, not many women on the road, obviously, and you did this, not many women on the road bowl the rock star over, so to speak. They don't grab their attention like that, because so many are trying to be fit into what the facade of the groupie, or, talk about the music or all that stuff. So, yeah. I think it's a compliment, because you were with him for 4 years, so can't be a bad thing.
Well, here's the thing. So the very first time I get to LA, I go to his house, right? And because he was still on the road after we met, after his tour finished, I went to go see him, and I I arrived to his house by cab, and we had to act quickly. I went in and put my things down, and we got back into the cab, and we drove to some restaurant in LA. And this was kind of funny, because he lived in Bel Air, and one of the richer suburbs. And the cab driver on the way, he was like, "Oh wow, yeah, you got a nice place." He's like asking him, how'd you get so rich, or something to that effect, but a little more politely, or how'd you get so successful, something along those lines. And Al said, "Oh, well, I had a hit record." And he goes,
"Well, and how old were you the first time you went to see him in Bel Air?"
17.
So yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I love it, because you and I both, like we say, the 80s ladies, we were very young with a fake ID mostly, or we just lied and they didn't ID us. So, but yeah, I mean, here you are, 17 years old, with this big musician in a Bel Air mansion. How was that?
Well, it wasn't really a mansion. It was a very posh place, but
like Elizabeth Taylor's last place in Bel Air. Like Elizabeth Taylor's last place in Bel Air. It wasn't like a mansion, but it was a nice spread.
Yeah, it was up on a hill. In fact, if you look at he did that song "Time Passages."
Yeah.
If you look on the back of the album, he's standing on what is his house is up on a hill type thing, and are very elevated, and he's standing along the side of his house when he took that photo. And I actually went back there and took a photo. All my stuff got lost.
So how cool is that? Okay, you've got to send me a picture of that album cover so I can put it in the episode. Because how cool is that you were at the house with this guy that we all have as groupies have those crushes. Like I had John Taylor from Duran Duran, New York, whatever. And here you are and this is on his album cover, standing at his house with him.
No, I'm not. he on his album cover, he is standing.
No,
on
I'm
the
saying
side
not
of
on
his
the
house.
album cover, but after the album cover. You're standing there with him at his home where that picture was
No,
taken.
no, we didn't stand there. I took a picture of the side of the house. I didn't take a picture myself. This was long before selfie days. I took a picture of just the side of the house that you could compare to the side of the album. But unfortunately, that was 30 years ago. And since then, I've had everything I've owned just vanish twice. So
Yeah.
I don't have it anymore. But I did have it, and he doesn't live there anymore. So that's.
But still, you were standing in a place that, you were at the home where that was taken, and it must have been cool. And
Yeah.
so where were you guys
Yeah.
going when you got there and you got in the cab?
Well, he rushed me up because we were going to a place in LA. It was a 5-course meal where the waiters stand around the table, very uppity, because his friend had invited us out to dinner, and you bring your own champagne, or whatever you're drinking to the restaurant, and they serve your own stuff because he is a wine connoisseur,
Uh-huh.
and he, has his own thing. He's very into wines, and he has some very good wines, in fact. But
Nice.
and he had in that home, he had his own wine cellar, what have you, nice baby grand piano. Oh, it was really neat, and a pool, which I did not go in. But so we go here, and it's a 5-course dinner. They serve it. I'm like, boy, I'm just a little old Texas girl. I'm not used to all this. I'm trying to mind my P's and Q's. And one of the other guys we were with, I was talking to his girlfriend. So her and I go to the bathroom because, women have to go together. And we get in there, and then she's pulling out the booger sugar. And I'm like, oh, these people are pretty cool, aren't they? Well, anyhow, she did that. So at least I knew it wasn't too uppity,
Welcome to LA, baby.
Yeah, but we were there, and then we went back to his place, and you can probably imagine the things that could have happened. And but he told me even back then, he said, you should never meet your dreams. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, because they may not turn out to be what you think they are. And I know that's true, but you know what? I don't know if I will ever hear this. And he just got remarried, so I hope I hope his wife don't. But he never disappointed me.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, with groupies, it's not like we're the super fans, we're in the meet and greet room where people do have a facade. And I don't mean that mean. It's just like when you're standing in the front row and you're looking up at that rock star, he's on this pedestal, he's got his facade on. So a lot of people have a very kind of one-dimensional look about them. But as groupies, like I always say, we make them put that rock star in the road case, and we date them for the man. We look at the man they are off stage. We get to know the man they are off stage. And that's what you were doing with Al. And obviously he did the same with you. And because, like I said, 4 years, that's longer than most girls in the 70s, you know who, was even a groupie.
The what?
Like, that's longer than some 70s groupies even lasted on the scene. You had a relationship with the rock star for 4 years.
Oh, yeah. And one I dreamed of, because there were so many people I met that were famous, and I'm one of those people, if I'm not into you, I really don't care. Like, David Lee Roth came in, and he's got a bodyguard with him at Cardi's. It's like, dude.
Yeah, but no, if he would have gone down on you like he did me, you would have cared. No, I'm kidding.
No, I wouldn't, because I found him disgusting to look at. I wouldn't have been, at least back then, I don't know. In his younger days, I've seen photos. He looked okay. But at the time he was at Cardi's, I was like, I'm surprised they didn't have to butter his head to squeeze him through the door. He was so conceited. I'm serious. I was like, dude, who the hell do you think you are? You don't act like that here in my playground. Because what was it? One girl just walked past him, and they thought the girl was coming towards David Lee Roth, and I think the security guard shoved her. And I'm like, oh, no, he ain't that in this bar, okay?
No.
Get Eddie Van Halen in here, and we can shove some people around.
So how, like, how did it end between you and Al? Like, what was the last thing, because obviously you're just hanging out, enjoying each other's companies for several years. Why did it end?
Oh God, that's a difficult story. But let me finish what the cab
Oh, okay.
driver said, okay? Because this is kind of funny. But so he told him, I have it when he asked him, "How did you get so successful?" He said, "Well, I had a hit record." And he goes, "Oh, really? What was it?" And he said, "You're the Cat." And he goes, "Oh, you're Cat Stevens."
Oh, no,
And
no,
that one goes,
although I would have
Al
done Cat
goes,
Stevens, yeah.
huh?
I said, although I would have done Cat Stevens back then. Totally sat on him.
Oh, I loved his music
He was so
too.
pretty, too.
I didn't
And I still
know
love his
that.
music, but yeah, he was pretty back then.
I didn't know that till recently because it occurred to me. I have no idea. I like his music, but I had no idea what he looked like. And in his younger days, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you would have done
He
some, I
was
would
a
have done some
hottie.
damage to that face. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah, he was a hottie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, back to, sorry,
Anyhow.
Desiree and I, we're such good friends. We could go in 12 different directions. Our average phone call lasts 3 hours, so bear with
Oh,
us.
God, I know it does. And it flies by like we're time blind. It's like, oh, that
Yeah.
felt like 30 minutes, and it's been 3.5
Yeah.
hours. But, yeah. Well, there was a lot of good things.
Well,
from
what
the
did
beginning.
Al do when the cab driver thought he was Cat Stevens?
He said, "Close enough."
I'll take it.
He really did not act. See, and that is another thing I really enjoyed about him. It's like, I remember at one show, this is because I got 4 years with him, so there's a lot of things that happened with
Yeah.
Al. God, I can't even tell you one where an ex-boyfriend came stalking me. We'll get there in a minute, but I remember when, I saw him one time, and it was at one of his shows, and we were there, and one of the fans said, "Oh my God, I've never met anyone famous before." And he goes, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you, you still haven't."
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude of a lot of musicians, believe it or not.
You've heard other ones say that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because when they're off stage, are they the famous rock stars? Only to the fans who ask for the autograph. To the groupies? No, you're just the man we're sleeping with tonight.
Well, I thought it was very humble of him. So I was just like, oh, how sweet. He's not so stuck up and stuff, despite, he had more than one hit record by then,
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a time that I can't leave anything undone. But one night, this is when he came through Houston. We were at this hotel in down. Well, it was close to where they were playing. So I think we were at the. Oh God, what was that? I keep wanting to say the Summit Hotel, but it's not. It's next to the Summit where the big stadium is. Oh
Yeah.
I forget the name of the hotel, but it was a pretty nice one. And we're in there in his room hanging out, and all of a sudden, bang, bang, bang on the door. And I'm like, he's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And it's like, it's got to be a drunk, at the wrong door or something. Because I didn't have anybody coming. He didn't have anybody coming. So we go to look out the peak hole, and he goes, "There's a man standing out here. Do you know him?" And I look out, and it's my ex-boyfriend, drunk.
Oh, no.
Stalking me and pounding on the door, and he had to call his manager, who is also his drummer, and call him in another room and say, "Can you remove this man from outside of my door?" And he did, and thank God he didn't come back, because he didn't know if he had the right room or not.
That's scary. What happened after? Like, did you ever see the ex-boyfriend again after that day, or?
I did. I did, and he was weird like that. Whenever he would get drunk, he would look for me. And unfortunately, he got drunk a lot, but I didn't see him again after that. We were off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out, like, we should have just been friends.
I'm not even sure you should have been friends if he was stalking you.
Yeah, he did sometimes. He was weird like that.
So whatever happened, like, how did it fade out with you and Al?
Oh, that was kind of a very weird and confusing night. I really kind of blame myself, but I brought a couple of girlfriends with me to the show. I usually did, because there's band people there, that are single, and I usually have fun.
No, we all do that sometimes, If we're hooking up, we're like, oh, there's 3 other band members. I should bring at least 2 friends.
Yeah, because some guys are married. I'm not going to hook up a married person.
Yeah.
But like more than half were single. But
well, yeah, everybody was single back then because we were all too young.
Yeah, and my roommate at the time, Brenda, she also loved Al. So not like I did, but she loved him through getting to know his music through me. So we go to the show, and this thing is packed. I want to say that I think that was a double show too, but I can't be for sure. And I come in, and you have to understand, which I think you know well, is when you're dating these guys, you don't always have a commitment. So you know that they see other people when you're not around, and you do the same.
Yeah.
And I had a boyfriend now, and I had gotten pregnant and had my first child. And I never really talked to Al about that, but I didn't call all the time when I had a boyfriend, and he didn't either. So it was kind of a two-way thing. But so when I got to the show, I pull out pictures of my new baby and show him.
oh, baby killers. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, it had to end one way or another. It couldn't go on. I couldn't go be with him.
Oh, that came out wrong. I didn't mean like baby. I mean like killing the mood. That came out so wrong. Let me reach. I'll have to zap that out in the when I post this.
Yeah, but what was it? It had to end one way or another. I couldn't go home, or I couldn't go hang out with him. I had a boyfriend now. I had a baby,
Yeah.
So I showed him the pictures and everything, and definite mood killer. And then my friends, they usually had a bottle of beer in the, or not a bottle, what's it called? Barrel of beer in the back for the band after they got through playing. My friends mistakenly thought that the beer was supplied by the bar all night long for the band for free.
Oh.
So my friends were drinking the beer, and everything, thinking, oh yeah, it was for the Backstage people for free, I didn't even know about this till I called Steve months later, but anyhow, I don't know if Al called his backup or what, but suddenly some man and a woman appeared, and she came in, and he started making out with her right in front of me and stuff. In fact, I was up at the front of the club, and he was sitting up front now making out with her. I don't know what that was about. I was like, is he doing this on purpose? And my friend...
That was a bitch move is what that is. When they feel a little butthurt, yeah, I've had something like that happen before, and I was like, what the fuck do I give a shit about? You think I'm here to hook up with you again? No, I'm here to talk to you about the situation with the book, whatever. But yeah, no, that was a bitch move of, well, if I can't have you, then fuck you. Maybe, and I think maybe he was probably a little butthurt because as much as you guys saw each other and he was obviously single, if you're going to his house, why didn't you work out with him? Why wasn't that baby with him?
Well, I don't think he wanted one. This is a weird thing because, and I don't know if he was butthurt either. If that guy ever had...
Oh, no, that's a butthurt move. That's a FU move. That's you're going to go off and be with someone else and you're going to have a baby and you're going to have a whole life without me. You just burst the bubble of how he saw you. Just like, I mean, when Vin and I quit seeing each other because I had to tell him that I was with John, the bubble was burst. Vin didn't do anything like that. There was a girl trying to get him, but he was like, "No, I'm hanging with my friend," But yeah, that's a butthurt move. That's a bitch move.
Well, I don't know, but I never had any indication from him that there was any emotion tied to us. So if that was a reaction to what I did.
Well, for 4 years, yeah, there's emotion. He's flying you out. Yeah, there's emotion. There's chemistry. There's that rapport. And yeah, I mean, like I say all the time, 4 years, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, you spend that time with that musician on and off the road, yeah, there's going to be some sort of emotion, maybe not in the black and white that we see it as in society. Oh, it's love, you get married, blah, blah, blah. No, there's different types, and that was that type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but whatever it wasn't, a good signal, that's for sure. And what I did, I couldn't be with him anyway. And that was my way of telling him, hey, I have a baby, is easier than I have a boyfriend. And the night was a catastrophe, really. I was hanging around with another guy in the band that I just met, Robin Lample, and they're all such talented musicians. But it wasn't anything weird with me hanging out with Robin because Robin had just got married,
Yeah.
I don't go out with married men. So I was just hanging out, getting to know him and laughing and having a good time. And my friend Brenda, she said that she walked up to Al and said, oh, have you seen Des? And he was like, well, I haven't seen her. Why don't you go see if Robin has seen her? Like,
oh, yeah, he was a little hurt. Yeah, he was definitely butthurt.
Something was different, but I mean...
You basically broke up with him in his mind. So he was like, oh, how dare her,
A groupie, how dare her not be here for me? I'll find...
Yeah, because as 80s ladies, yeah, we just kind of played our own game.
I guess, but, but here's the thing. It wasn't going anywhere. He lived on the other side of the United States. He wasn't moving. He didn't invite me to come live with him. I wasn't moving.
But your little comfortable situation was no longer a comfortable situation.
Yeah, well, and also, here's this, back then without any computers, texting, telephone, there was no way to maintain any type of long relationship that was romantic for long. It's got to end somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And here I was, I was almost 22, I think. I've been dating him since I was 17. If it was going to move somewhere, it would have moved.
Yeah.
It didn't. So what am I supposed
Well, and I think one of the things is because I always talk about the different relationships we have on the road, and that's the lover. You guys were definitely lovers for sure. And does that have a future where you can go home with them forever? I don't know. But does it have to have that future? No.
No. But, as far as kids, here's the thing. He always said he did not care for children, did not want children. He once dated a girl that had a kid. She brought it over. When the kid walked outside, he shut the sliding glass door behind him. Never talking about a child. And I'm like, that is not a good thing to do. But anyhow, he was just expressing his lack of interest in children. Well, not long after I last saw him, he was dating someone, and they had plans to get married, and they did, and they had 2 kids. And I was like thinking, how the heck?
Yeah.
How the heck did he do around children?
I don't know. Ask the nannies.
Ask what?
The nannies.
I don't think there'd be nannies involved in this. I know the wife would be there, but she was probably very involved. But my question would be, was he involved too at all, or did he put it all off on her? Because of his feelings towards kids, or did they change after he had a couple, or what?
Well,
but of course,
generally, I think in a rock star marriage, because they do tour so much, because they are in the studios, because they are always busy, and they have a few months downtime, it generally is all on the wife at home. Yeah. I mean, look at James Hetfield, look at Steven Tyler's kids, he didn't even know he had Liv Tyler. I mean, look at, there's a lot of rock stars like John Bon Jovi's kids. He was away from him all the time. So, yeah, I think it's kind of a passing to someone like Al. I think it would have been a passing, it's there for a few months. That's all I got to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. But, I know as adults he probably has more interaction. I think I heard that one of his daughters now plays music with him.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's wonderful, that they have that connection. I was just curious about them growing up. It's like, oh boy, how would you put it, manage being around something he didn't really have a big interest in.
Well,
But
they say
anybody
when you
that
have kids, it all changes. So who knows?
Yeah, anybody that I contacted in the band, I would not ask them that because it's too personal. But then I think he got divorced, and he's recently, in the last 5 years, remarried. So I wish him all the happiness in the world. I
Oh, that's
really do.
nice.
Huh?
I said, that's nice.
Yeah, but I have a lot of fun memories. Too many to put in this call, but it was a great ride. And I was never disappointed as he feared I might be, and getting, to meet the person I dreamed of.
Yeah.
So that was all, irrelevant. But I'm sure some people are disappointed when they meet them.
Well, I'm sure there are, but you know what? That's so cool that you guys had that 4 year run. And you guys had your cushy little thing going. And I mean, that's what a lot of people don't get. We have different relationships that don't necessarily fit in the black and white society version of them or idea of them. And yeah, they can still be hurt even if you haven't seen each other for 9 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think we ever went quite that long, because most of the money he made during that time was from touring.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the money was lucrative because he would do back-to-back shows that were packed, absolutely packed. And I remember one night, he told me, I'm coming to Houston. He was coming to play at Cardi's, where at that time I was working at Cardi's. And I was like, oh my God, I work there, Al. That's the club I work in. And so I go to my boss and I said, I need off for the Al Stewart concert because I'm dating him and I want to see him. And he didn't believe me. He thought I was joking. And I'm like, I'm not freaking joking with you. I'm dating him.
You're like, I go to LA, he comes here. We have a thing.
Yes. I was like, I can call him if you want to. Which I may have tried to do. I can't recall for sure, but I think I did try to call him and from the office phone. And I got his answering service. So I was like, okay, well, he isn't there now, but I am dating him. Anyhow, after I insisted on this for months, not months, but weeks and weeks, he finally said, look, I'll give you half the show off. You have to work the first part of it, and then you can have halfway off, but it's going to be packed and I need you. And I'm like, okay, fine. So Al gets into town and I meet him at his hotel, me and my friends. So, I get there and we decide we're going to the show together. But I go to the hotel with him and we immediately leave to go to dinner. So we go to this place called Bombay Palace and we're with the band and everybody and my friends, and we're all eating this Indian food because during that time, him and a few band members were going through this hot food phase. And so Indian food was the thing, right? And we are late to his show. We get out of the restaurant late. We get in a cab. We are rushing to be on time. I'm running late for work. He's running late for the show. And we come busting all through the door together. And then my boss knew. I'm
like told you so.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, it's my fault, because I think we were a little late getting to the hotel to meet him to go to dinner. And so, but I come busting through the door with Al Stewart. We're all late. And I said, I told you, I'm with him. So after the show started, I did work part of it, but he let me off a little earlier than he agreed to. And then at the end of the night, he asked me, hey, one of his family members was a big fan. He said, will you go backstage and ask him for an autograph for me? And I did. I went and got one for him.
Nice.
Yeah. So he finally believed me. So.
Nice. Well, with that, we have talked about an hour, just over an hour.
Yes.
So we better wrap it up before everybody else gets stuck on one of our phone calls.
Oh my God. I know. We don't want that to happen. And I think you need to add it.
No, just that one thing I said about the babies. But anyway. But I love that, though. I love that you shared, like with AC/DC, you don't have to be hanging out with the band to enjoy the night. You don't have to downgrade the road crew to, because rock stars stand on a stage. And we wouldn't have that stage just worship them on if it wasn't for the roadies. And, I loved hearing about your relationship with Al because it really does... every groupie has that one. So tell me and Desiree, everybody down in the comments, the ladies from the 80s that are here, even the guys from the 70s, 80s, you know who you are. I'm going to have one of you on the show, I think. Yeah. But anyway, tell me who that was your one down in the description. What do you think, Desiree?
Oh, yes. I want to hear about everybody's one that they got to meet, or even if you didn't get to meet them. Maybe
or the one that you had the relationship with that, was so unexpected, like I had Vin or John or, Steve Jones, like you had Al, like, who was your one person that you got to hang out with that you had a thing with that was so unexpected?
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool beans. Well, Miss Desiree, we better get it going because I know you've got some stuff to do tonight and, I've got to get some stuff done. As you can hear, the fucking road is still being done.
Mm-hmm. I can't hear it, so that's a
good good. I kind of put a little sound barrier up, so that's good. My cat's giving me dirty looks. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed Miss Desiree. Tell her thank you so much and what you think down in that comments. Let her know what's up, and she'll be back to answer you guys as well, because she does answer, and she does post. She does everything on here. So... And if you guys are just hanging around, you're not subscribed, go down and hit that subscribe. Share this. Let's get up to 10,000 because I want a fucking plaque. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
but yeah, I want the YouTube plaque. And, to get the book sold for a movie or something. But yeah, so
please.
Keep spreading, keep sharing. Let's grow this. Let's get this out there. Let's become the next cool ass groupie shit. And you go ahead, hit that share, hit the bells, and we'll see you next time on Cocktails and Rocktails. Say bye, Desiree.
Oh, wait. What was it? Cheers, big ears.
Cheers, big ears.